Hello again and welcome to another edition of Suds and Country. Hi, I'm Herb Suds and welcome to the show. This is a special show. It's sort of a patriotic show. And I was looking for the right place to do a patriotic show after the 9/11 incident. And I found Richard Pierce standing next to me. He has a collection of flags. And I think this is the right backdrop for a patriotic show. So Richard, tell us about your collection of flags and what the audience is going to see during this show.
Thank you, Herb. We have a collection of flags here that started about 11 years ago, and it's probably been most active the last 5 or 6 years with some of the flags that we'll show you today. When you think about some of the greatest, most dramatic moments in history, George Washington crossing the Delaware, when you think about Francis Scott Key writing the Star-Spangled Banner when he saw that tattered flag at Fort McHenry, and raising the flag at Iwo Jima, and maybe more recently with the World Trade Center when those 3 firemen raised that flag on that steel girder. These great moments in history, and many others that happened in sports as well. The center has always been, the symbol has always been the flag. The stars and stripes is always the focal point of every one of those moments in history. And I think that's one of the reasons that I do collect flags. Not only do I love history and politics and the flag, but I love the symbolism of the flag and what it represents. Our individual freedoms, and all of those men and women who gave so much over the years so our way of life could be preserved. This flag collection is not only a tribute to them, but also to our founding fathers who did a great job putting this country together.
Yeah, they did a great job, Richard. I agree with you there. Tell you, we're going to take a look at some more individual flags. Richard, what's the significance of this flag that we're looking at now?
Well, speaking about moments in history, this is a 35-star flag that dates to 1864, again at the time of the Civil War. And you'll notice the star pattern here is very unusual. There's a large star with a circle around it and a star in each corner. Very, very unusual. This flag is a cotton flag, and what is truly significant about it is the handwritten note that accompanied the flag when I bought it. And the note says, "They are singing to my flag at a torchlight parade of Lincoln's men with their pickaxes and spades in 1864. As I stood on the porch waving this flag, the company of men opposite the house turned and saluted my flag and sang 'Rally Round the Flag, Boys.' And it's signed Florence G.S. in 1864. Now, we believe Florence G.S. is a relative of a soldier by the name of Shattuck, who was a member of the Massachusetts 24th Infantry Regiment. And again, this flag dates back to Civil War, and it's just not only a beautiful flag, but the history behind it and the preservation of the note makes it even more special.
Indeed, a special flag going back to Lincoln days. Richard, tell us about that unusual one with those stars in are they stars in the middle?
Those are stars. This is a very, very unusual flag. You're looking at a diamond pattern flag of embroidered stars, handmade silk flag dating to 1865. And also another moment in history in terms of the little note that accompanies the flag. What is also unusual about this flag is you'll notice that it starts with a white stripe and not a red one. Most of the flags in this room, and there are 1 or so exceptions, all start with a red stripe. But this one starts with a white stripe. In history, that is a little unusual, but there are flags that have had the white stripe as the first stripe. For example, the Bennington Flag, which is a famous historic flag, that had a white stripe at the beginning. And also, we were talking before about the Civil War and Fort Sumter. The flag that flew at Fort Sumter also was a flag that had a white stripe at the beginning. This flag also has a note that says, "Waved at the return of the 1st Rhode Island Regiment, Captain George N. Bliss, commanding officer, April 9th, 1865, made by Annie Francis Carpenter." And what I try to do with most of the flags that I collect is the research. And in researching this flag, I did run across a Civil War GAR site in Rhode Island. And they were able to confirm that George Bliss indeed was the commanding officer of the 1st Rhode Island Regiment. And incidentally, they sent me a photograph, faxed me a photograph of him. It also turned out he was a Congressional Medal of Honor winner. And I've had several email correspondence with this GAR unit, and now this flag and the note is part of their website. So if you go on their website, you'll see this flag as part of the history of their Civil War site.
Pretty interesting. That goes, again, it goes back into the 1865 era with Lincoln. Well, Richard, I'm seeing stars again. What are we looking at?
Herb, you're looking at two of the oldest flags in the collection. The one on the left is a 26-star Great Star pattern that dates 1837, Michigan statehood. And you'll notice the very large star in the center, and the stars get smaller in size as it goes from the center to the outward part of the tips. It's a printed flag on cotton, and probably one of the earliest examples of a printed flag on homespun cotton. The one on the right is a 31-star Great Star flag. It dates to 1851. That's California statehood. And this one is printed on glazed muslin, so you'll see a little orange tinge to the flag, stripes. The star pattern is much larger than the one on the left, and you'll also notice that there's one star in between each of the 5 tips. Very, very unusual, and two of the oldest flags that I have.
Well, it's definitely different, I'll tell you. They go back to what year did you say?
1837 and 1851.
Okay, so, okay. And do they represent the states in the Union?
Yes, the one on the left, the 26 star, is Michigan,
Okay.
and the one on the right, 31 star, is California.
Okay. Well, Richard, we're wrapping up this edition of Southern Country. Tell us what's the significance of those 3 flags in that one frame.
Herb, these flags are very special flags. They're the only flags in my collection that are made of paper. And these flags were made to wave at Abraham Lincoln's funeral in 1865. Each flag is different in terms of the configuration of the stars. The 34 stars in each one you can see at the top are straight rows, and there's an overprint that says, God's illustrious servant, faithful to the end. The middle flag, also 34 stars, has an overprint that says, we mourn, our chief has fallen. And finally down below, a very unusual star pattern with a archway that has a saying inside, Union and the Constitution, and the overprint on the flag says, we loved him living, we revere him dead. These flags are very, very special and were part of Abraham Lincoln's funeral in 1865.
Richard, I have one thing to say. God bless America.
God bless America.